Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen. This is Sales Funnel Radio, and today I'm going to talk about my greatest asset and my college transcript. What's up, guys? Hey, today is a little bit different. First off, I want to apologize. The last few episodes that went out, we found out that the mic on the camera was busted, and so that's kind of why it sounded a little bit weird, and thankfully my super ninja sound dude was able to take out a lot of the stuff, but we apologize for that. He's the man. You guys all get to meet him another time when we all feature our content team again. But what I wanted to do is, this episode's a little bit different. You'll notice it's a little bit long, but what I wanted to do is I went and I did a Facebook Live to my group. And it's a little long, but the lessons are huge. And it frankly is how I went from completely failing out of college, had no idea how to learn, did not know, right? I really didn't know how to learn. And even into my early 20s, I had to figure out how to learn. And I want to go through and show you, in fact, the first thing I show you is my college transcript. And you'll see the huge difference between when I learned how to learn and when I had no idea how to learn. And how that's blessed me in my life and frankly, everything else that I do. And anyway, so it's a little bit of a different episode, but we're going to cut over to it now. It's the recording from me in my group and the science of selling online. And so anyway, so we're going to cut straight over to that. If you have any questions or whatever, please reach back out. The group itself had a great discussion about it afterwards. And by the time I was done, over 900 people had already watched it. And then a few hours later, it was 1,500. And then anyway, it's been really, really cool. It's some real talk. Please go in with some thick skin. If you are easily offended, maybe don't watch this one. But anyway, let's cut over to it now, and I'll see you in that episode.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9-to-5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business, using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
Hey, I just want to share with you guys probably one of the most important assets that I've ever created. And it's something that took me probably 2 years to create, of actively trying to do it, okay? And I want to show you this real quick, though. Hold on, let me just pull it up right here so you guys can see it. I want to walk you through what I've done and why it means so much to me. And frankly, I know it's one of the major reasons why I am where I am right now. And it's because the lesson was so painful, okay? So let me share with you guys this. It's like the hat here, hence the hat. All right. Okay, check this out. I went through and we were just chatting, and I found my college transcript. And it's not like anyone has ever asked me for it ever. Russell certainly didn't care. But I am glad for what it taught me, right? I'll never, ever regret going to college. Although I don't know, so you don't learn how to make money in college, right? But I'm glad I went. Check this out. I'm going to show you my transcript, okay? And I'm going to show you something. This is funny. All right, now I graduated college when I was 28, right? And it's because I did like a 2-year mission for my church. I took, frankly, like a year and a half off. This is before I knew what I wanted to do, and before I tried enough things to know what I wanted to do, right? I went and I took a couple semesters for Army stuff, going to basic training, a whole bunch of other things. But okay, check this out. So it was a long time, okay? Much longer than normal people usually take to get through college. But I mean, I had a family, we had kids, we had, it's kind of a different scenario and everything. So anyway, check this out. Okay, I'm gonna show you my transcript. No one laughed, but totally feel free to, because I'm going to. Okay, here's my first. Let me see. Make sure you guys can see this. Look at that first semester right there. D plus A F F F F. That's my first semester. Okay, check that out. I got an A in apartment leadership because it was a 2-hour thing. I just sat down and did it one day when I realized how screwed I was at the end of the semester. The GPA was literally 0.00017, okay? This man before you had no idea how to learn, and I actually got kicked out of college, okay? I got kicked out, and frankly, it's funny. You actually have to go to class to stay in it. That's kind of funny. So I kind of stopped going to class about halfway through also. But the issue was I didn't know how to learn, okay?
I had no idea how to learn. I didn't know the process for it. I literally barely graduated high school, okay? I'm not just saying that. I got straight D's in science every semester, in math every semester, English, certainly did in like foreign languages, Spanish. I was taking straight D's. I got, isn't that funny? And half of it was just because I didn't know how to learn. Right? And I was always interested in it, and like these parent-teacher conferences would happen. These guys would be like, your son seems really, really interested in this. He just doesn't apply it himself. And that is what they said every freaking parent-teacher conference from when I was like in 4th grade, okay? All the way through, right, when I actually finally went to college and removed my parents from the notification list from the school. Okay? I didn't know how to learn, okay? And the thing that I went and I figured out was how to learn. So what I thought would be kind of cool with you is to share with you my process for learning, because there's a process and it's active, and it's the reason why. Let me share with you guys the difference though, okay? So I ended up having to go, and I went and I applied for college again 4 years later, okay? 4 years later, I went and said, let's go finish this thing. At least I got to figure out how to do this. And again, I didn't learn how to make money in college. I did not learn how to be a marketer, although I have a marketing degree, which is really funny. I didn't learn how to do any of that stuff in college. It was all my own side hustles going on. I had actual clients going on from the side. But anyways, let me show you this. Okay, check this out. All right, so that's that semester. Okay, then check out that row right there. A, B, A, B, A, B, 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 A. I didn't get a single C the rest of the 4.5 years I was in college. Straight A's, a few B's here and there. Ended up with a 3.8. 3.818. Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. And the difference was I learned how to learn. Okay? And this was such a powerful lesson to me. In fact, I remember where I was. I was over on the East Coast. I was living in North Carolina, and I was on a mission, and I started learning how to learn. Okay, and I completely believe that God had every bit to do with it. Okay, for some reason, kind of opened and expanded my noggin. Okay, but this is what I learned. Okay, this is the process that I learned. This is literally what I go through to learn. It's no different than what made me able to sit next to Russell and build funnels for him. Is no different. The exact same process. In fact, even when I was sitting next to him and he'd say, Steven, go figure out how to hook up deadline funnel. Steven, go figure out how to do this. Steven, you got 2 hours to learn this whole software and integrate it into this funnel. Go. Same process. Okay? Same process. And in fact, most of the time when I am coaching somebody, right, I've brought 1,600 people through this process now. Many of them became millionaires. Many became 100,000aires, and lots of people made money for the first time in their entire life. It was by applying this process, okay? If I was sitting in quantitative marketing research, right? I hate that. Like, oh my gosh, that's terrible, right? I hated that stuff. Accounting, right? If you guys like that stuff, that's great. I don't, okay? I'm not good at that. In fact, my first major was CIT. Coding, I'm not good at that. I hate coding, okay? I do not know how to do it. I understand pieces of it, but my brain doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't work that way. And so I had to learn how to learn. And, if you go, I'm sure of all the stats, the stats all say every CEO is reading a book a week at least, right? You got to learn how to learn, and you got to do it at speed, right? And that if you guys go to, I'm not promoting or anything, but if you go to double your reading, doublereading.com, it's the world's fastest reader. Every year, Russell goes and does a promo with him, and he's got a course, and he'll literally more than double. In fact, if he only doubles, he gets mad about it. I got to meet him. He read Expert Secrets in 5 minutes. It was the craziest thing. I sat right in front of him, I watched him, and then he had a deep conversation for an hour with Russell about all the details inside, Okay, there's so much information around. First thing you can do is just be really picky on what you consume. Okay, stop listening to every podcast show that's out there. Choose like the top 2 or 3 guys and go deep with them. Okay, stop reading every book. Choose the 1 or 2 topics that you want to get really good at in your lifetime, and that's it. Only do those things. Don't worry about the others. You're not going to get good at them anyway. Where did I? Oh, it's right there. Okay, don't. The first thing you can do, in my opinion, is do what Tim Ferriss teaches and have a low information diet, okay? And then you go deep on that thing. I prided myself for a long time on being a Renaissance man. I could do ad copy. I could do the actual ad. I could do the actual funnel. I could actually set up the integrations. I could do the actual video. I could do sound editing. I could do all of it. And I was the one-man show. And frankly, for a while before you build a team, that's a great way to go so that you know at least who to hire and who's good. Okay. But after a while, stop learning everything. Okay. Cut it out. It is what's killing you. Oh, you just drive deep on with just one or two experts that you really, really like, and you study them for years, okay? And that's the reason why, guys, right? ClickFunnels is literally 3 miles away, that direction, right over there. It's 3 miles away. I still, even though I was next to the man that long, he is the silo that I've determined to learn and study from long term. I'm never not going to study deeply from him. When I find out there's something that he is just freaking out about and is super excited about, I read the same book. Okay, when I find out there's something, I still do it, even though that, right? I mean, I had this massive brain dump just sitting next to the guy. Anyways, what I want to do real quick is I wanted to show with you the process. Okay, the first thing, the very first step. If I needed to go learn something that I didn't want to learn, I had to find a way to become curious about it. There needed to be, I had to become curious. I had to seek information, okay? I looked around and I looked at all the other guys who were in my marketing classes, who were in my entrepreneurship classes. I looked around all the other guys, and pretty much 99% of everybody in there was not doing a dang thing outside that class to learn on their own. They literally surrendered all learning to the teacher. That's crap. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. You should be going and just getting the extra little pieces done by that teacher. Whenever I get something, and I'm coaching somebody or someone's in some program of mine, and they literally leave every single step up to me, it is wrong, and I know they will fail. I am that strong about it. If they have no drive, if they do not learn on their own, if they've never opened up freaking Google or YouTube on their own and typed in, how do I blank, 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 I know they're not going to make it. Bar none. Done. Right there. Gone. Will not make it. Will not make money because they have zero drive. They're never going to figure. Look, all these things that we're teaching you guys, everything we do is a formula. It will get you to the 90%. Okay, it will shortcut, it will save years of your life, tens of thousands of dollars of you testing on your own, but that last 10% is up to the athlete, right? It's up to you, right? It's up to, hey, this is how you do an e-com funnel. Sweet, but I'm not gonna go make an e-com funnel specific to your exact product. So they're gonna be that last little 10%. And you'll make money doing the 90. You'll figure out how to do it. You'll figure out how to be successful doing that 90 or get leads doing that 90. It's that last 10%. And for the guys who can't stay up a few extra hours, who can't get up a few extra hours, who can't, and they won't do it on their own, they surrender all of their learning to another person and say, well, but Steven didn't teach me how to do it with my product. Bull crap, not my fault, right? Not my fault. Okay, it was when I realized and I sat down in college that the teacher, right, people were literally leaving all responsibility for learning up to the teacher. That's when I realized, like, oh crap, it's actually really freaking easy for me to be apart from everybody else. That's the beauty of it, guys. Study for an hour on your own, no one telling you to do it. And for a lot, I'm preaching to the choir, a lot of you guys on here right now. I mean, I know I am, okay, but let me just keep ranting, okay? But if you go and you just a little bit extra, in just a year's time even, and let's say do a little bit more than a little bit more, okay? 6 months, guys, 6 months from the time I built my first successful funnel, okay, was when I met Russell and actually went and got a job offer from him, okay? 6 months is because I dove deep. Step number 1 is you have got to be self-sustaining. You have got to be diving deep. You have to be curious. And if there's something I know I needed to go learn, I found a way to be curious about it. Okay, you must be curious. You must learn for the sake of wanting to do so. Reading is not enough, okay, which leads me to step 2. As I was learning, and this was weird, okay, but I did this actively in college. When there was a subject I did not want to learn, you guys saw, I almost got straight A's. I got a 3.18 the rest of college after that. From straight F's, right? I just showed my transcript to you. That's crazy. So what did I do? One of my tricks was I always learned for 2. That's the phrase that I always say inside my head. I'm going to learn for 2. I'm going to learn for 2. I'm going to learn for 2. Meaning, as I'm learning something, one of the easiest ways for it to sink inside of my head, whether it has to do with funnels, right, or a script strategy, right now, actually, I am actually in funnel scripts right now, right, and I'm building out the webinar for Funnel Builder Secrets, right, to go do with all these different JVs, right, all these cool different JVs with Russell, super cool stuff, right? So anyways, that's what I'm doing right now. But
I'm learning for 2. Every time I was watching Russell, either in person or before I ever met him in person, before he ever knew who I was, I always learned for 2. Every time I was in college, let's say there was some topic where I didn't want to learn it, I would sit back and I would go, how would I teach this to somebody else? And I am 100% convinced the reason I'm on his stages right now is because of that principle. Because it was weird, guys. I don't know. I would sit back and I would start saying to myself, how would I teach this to somebody else? And for some reason, I always imagined myself teaching it on stage. I don't know why. I always did. I felt a little weird, felt a little conceited even doing that. But I would sit down, and it didn't matter if I was sitting in front of, and this became the basis for me beginning to publish, even though I didn't want to. Is because in my head, I had future-paced myself enough times. Boom. How am I going to say that on stage? How would I say it on stage? How would I say this on stage, right? If I was going to teach that, how would I simplify it and draw in a picture so that they can teach, right? Understand. Right? I'm not trying to sound super smart. I'm trying to sound simple because it's actionable. One of my favorite quotes here, I'm starting my quote wall again, which I'm really excited about. I think it's that one right there. It says, and I think I've already said this before, but it says, the purposeful destruction of information is the essence of intelligence. Okay, I'm not trying to be like sounding all smart and crap. We could geek out, guys. We go into some deep concepts for marketing, right? And different psychology and what's actually going on in the noggin. And if you guys followed me in Affiliate Outrage, you saw me do that a little bit while I've been building that out a little bit. But anyway, so that's right. Step number 1 is be curious, seek. Right? You've got to seek. You got to be able to deep dive without anybody telling you to do so. Freak out over it. Obsess over it. Be unreasonable over the amount of information you're consuming on it. Okay? I have mastered this to such a level, right? I feel like already that I could teach an actual masterclass on any subject if you gave me like 2 weeks. And I could just dive. Right? And you will be ahead of so many people. It's ridiculous. Okay? So that's step number 1. Okay? You have got to deep dive. Find a way to be interested. Find a way to be curious. Seek. Actively tear after being an expert. Number 2, learn for 2. Okay? Number 2 is learn for 2. And more specifically, what I'm saying is you need to learn how to document what you're learning. Okay? Write it down. I don't always write stuff down. I used to write a lot of stuff down, which is why I showed you guys my funnel journal, which is a previous Facebook Live if you haven't seen that one. I showed you my funnel journal, everything that I was learning. I just showed Russell like 2 days ago, and he's freaking out about it, which is awesome. It'll be on a Funnel Hacker TV episode soon, which is cool, because he was really impressed by it. But that's how I used to do it. Other ways I would document, though, like let's say if there was a subject I didn't want to go learn, I actively would find somebody after class. I didn't care who it was. There were strangers I did this to many times, and I would walk up to them. We'd be getting on an elevator or something like that, and I'd be like, hey, this is going to be weird, but can I just tell you what I just learned in this last class? And they'd be like, yeah, I guess. I'd be like, cool. This is what I learned. Isn't that interesting? They'd be like, yeah, that's interesting. And then I would go back home and I would teach my wife for that purpose, guys. It was an active thing that I would be doing. I would take that piece back and I would go and I would tell it. I would teach it to my wife so that it sank in my brain. Okay? That's why if you can teach it, you know it. Right? Okay? So, those are really 2 steps, okay? Now, the way you teach it matters. You know what's funny is with Sales Funnel Radio. Do you guys watch Sales Funnel Radio at all? I don't know if you guys watch it at all. Sales Funnel Radio, though, is freaking amazing. Love the group. Hey, thanks, Adam. I love the group, too. All right? Sales Funnel Radio is epic. What's interesting about Sales Funnel Radio is everybody just wants the nuggets. Okay, they want the nuggets. They want. It's funny because I've totally surveyed people, and this is what they say. Right, the way I put out the content, they say, "Hey, yeah, I want to go. I want to be. Just. It's funny. They'll tell me. How should I say this? They'll tell me things like, "Steven, this is a really good point. I just wish you got straight to the lesson, though." And I'd be like, oh, interesting. So at the beginning, when I first was doing Sales Funnel Radio, you can hear a few episodes where I did that, and it was pretty straight tactics. It was like straight to the point, here's right to the nugget. And you know what's funny about that? Nobody remembered it. No one remembered the nugget. Nobody was really applying it. It didn't mean anything to them. The only reason that they remembered it, and it was, I was like 2 episodes, and I stopped, and I was like, crap, that didn't work. They want the nugget. But if I go straight to nugget, no one remembers it, and frankly, you don't remember it either. And so you have to wrap your nuggets in stories. Okay, you have to wrap the golden nuggets in stories. That's how people learn. It's what sticks in the brain. It's what also assigns value to the nugget, right? That's what gets people to go, oh my gosh, that was so cool. It only happens when I wrap things in story, when I do 80% story, 20% nugget. So watch what I'm doing in those episodes, okay? When again, 80% story, 20% nugget. When I do it that way, they're like, oh my gosh, that was such a sick episode. When I go straight tactical, and it truly is stuff that I would charge $1,000 for at an event to go teach, they're like, hey, that was cool, and then I never hear about it again. When there's a story, though, there's an emotional response that people remember forever. Okay, so what does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with anything? Okay, so again, here's the steps. Number one, you've got to be able to dive deep and be a self-solver when it comes to your education. I hate it when people reach out to me and they're like, how do I add a new funnel? I'm like, freaking A, did you even Google it? I get so mad about it. Are you serious? Google it, right? Did you do anything on your own to solve that question on your own? No. Therefore, I'm not even going to help, right? That's my response to it. And I get pretty animated about it, which you just saw, right? But when people reach out and they're like, oh my gosh, Steven, how do I write a Seinfeld series? Did you even Google it? Right? Did you look at .com secrets? Did you read the scripts? Did you go and even YouTube? Someone already has it. I have a YouTube education. No one taught me how to do what I'm doing. No one taught me. Okay, my very first education was a YouTube education. For a long time, I would go and I would get these people to say yes to me, and I would turn around and say, look, I know you don't know what these funnels are. And in fact, I actually don't know how to build half the stuff myself. I wouldn't say that. But I'd say, do you want me to go rebuild your website? And they'd say, sure. And all I knew was that there was a guy out there somewhere in the ether who had some little tutorial on how to build a website in WordPress. And I would say, sweet. And I would dedicate 2 days. I'd take the dude, literally. This is how it, guys, I'm not joking. And I would say, yes, I'll go do it. What I'm saying is, let me go figure it out. Okay? And I would walk in and I would grab whatever asset I found on YouTube. Literally. And I would go grab and I'd say, how to build a website. And I'd have that on one screen. I'd do it in the library, guys. I didn't even have a computer sometimes. Or if I didn't have a lot of times, one of the things I would do is I'd say yes to people. And I would be like, oh man, I just said yes to filming that guy's thing. I don't even have filming software, editing software. Oh, cool, libraries do. And I would go edit everything in a library. Or I'd say, yes, I'm gonna go, oh, you want me to come to your event and film a thing? Yeah, I could totally do that. I didn't know what I was doing for a while. I was in my age of exploration. I was just learning crap, okay? I was doing it on purpose. Just saying yes to stuff and figuring out as I went. Funny, right? Build a parachute as you're falling. Funny enough, the ground never comes. Okay. And so I went out and I would go and I would say things like, hey, I'm going to, let me say yes to you on that. And then let me deliver it to you in about 2 weeks. And I literally would just go and grab a tutorial and press play for 15 seconds and do what they do over on WordPress before ClickFunnels existed. When ClickFunnels came out, I did the exact same thing in ClickFunnels, okay? I went and I probably read every support doc that they ever had out at the time, okay? That's not a joke. It was like 2 to 3 times per day I would be reaching out to support asking questions. I was that guy, okay? And I knew that, and I was fine with that. But I was that, oh crap, it's this guy again. That's how they knew who I was when I actually showed up to a Funnel Hacking Live event. That's why I got 5 job offers by the time I actually got there. They knew who I was because I was dedicated to educating myself. I was a self-solver. This topic for me drives me nuts. I absolutely hate it when people come and they say things like, but Steven, I just don't know how to find a product to sell. Google it, right? It's like right there. There's so much information. Google it, right? Are you feeling me? And I know I'm just totally preaching to the choir here. You guys you're in a group called the Science of Selling Online, right? This is like me going deep, the inner thoughts of my noggin, okay? But I'm trying to help everyone see, like, there is nothing stopping you. It is not a matter of how do I anymore. How does this happen? How do I do that? Is this how this works? Is this how I do this over here? It's not a matter of that anymore. Freaking YouTube and Google are amazing. Just go there and do it, right? That's literally the whole, that's why I get so frustrated about it. When I'm in like a course for someone or there's like this little tiny contingency that only matters to the smallest little deep, darkest corner of their very scenario that happens on a Tuesday after a full moon. And I'm like, are you kidding? Just go Google it. Okay, and I'm freaking just yelling right now, and I know, and I totally get that, but it's because it's a passionate thing for me, right? I just showed you my college transcript. I failed my entire first semester. They kicked me out. I literally had to reapply for college. What I learned in that scenario was how to learn. And how to learn is never on anybody else's shoulder. If you don't know how to do anything, it is nobody else's fault. It's no one else's fault because Google exists, YouTube exists, guys out there like me who are willing to teach you exist. It's the 80-20 principle totally applies. When I was doing 2 Comma Club coaching and I was the only coach, there were 600 students. I was the only person I was the only coach for a full year. How did I do it? You want to know the honest truth? It's because the 80-20 rule still applied and 20% of the 600 were even doing anything. Okay? You getting info is not what gets you results. Okay, and you go out and you start saying things like, I'm saying you guys don't do this, okay? But this is my rant to the world as if everyone can hear it. I should stand on my roof. Do crap! Just look it up! The answer's already there. It has nothing to do with how do I anymore. How do I X? How do I Z? Right? I forgot why. How do I X? How do I Y? How do I Z? How do I 1, 2, and 3? That's no longer the issue. The issue is always, have you taken the freaking time to answer it on your own? Are you in a group? Are you in a course? Did you pay the dude who's taken a lot of time of his life to learn it some money so that he can shortcut it? Have you done those things? If you do that and you actually get in those courses and you do it and you apply it, that's like half the freaking battle. Just being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, right? Army always had that as a phrase, and they're like, you guys want to know how you're not gonna get jacked up in this life? You want to know how you're gonna stay the course? Be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, in the uniform you're supposed to be in. And that's all they would say. Like, sweet, I get it. If you're supposed to be up at a certain time, studying your craft, be up, right? If you're supposed to stay up late, be up. If you're like, I don't know how to do this, make it your number one thing that day to figure it out, right? And that is why I sat next to Russell Brunson. I am a self-solver. I am a self-teacher. God had everything to do with it, okay? Expanding. And when I asked him, will you please help me learn this? Because I'm kind of an idiot right now, right? And I failed out that first semester of college. He helped, okay? And when I went out and I said, look, I'm going to try and be curious about this, rather than my attitude of like, I got to learn freaking Dream 100 again, which is I know what people say. I was like, cool, how can I be curious about this? How can I seek the knowledge? How can I seek information? And how can I get myself results? How can I self-solve and self-teach? There's no one else who to blame except for myself if I don't learn this, right? Even the expert, even the guy teaching it. It's not his fault, it's always mine, okay? For my successes and my failures, never the entrepreneur, never the expert's fault. Number 2, what I was saying, right, is you have to be able to document it somehow. I always follow the adage of learn for 2, meaning how am I going to go teach it? Either on a podcast, am I going to teach it by writing it somewhere? Am I going to teach some random person on the street? Which I was doing to a haircut lady the other day, last week, as she was cutting my hair. And she had a really terrible attitude about trying new things in life, okay? Anyway, you feeling me? I don't care if the internet was to blow up, because I'm going to be totally fine, because I've learned how to learn. Does that make sense? And when, right, there's been a few times in my life, there was a few projects that I've been on. This is true for if it was school projects or a business project, where if something changed in the way we were running the business, and somebody started getting, who moved my cheese? Wait, am I going to be taken along in that ride? Where am I going to get mine? It was always because they weren't a self-solver. They always had the attitude of like, is this guy going to remember? Am I going to be remembered? I'm going to die in a gutter. Ah! And they would start saying that kind of crap. And you could see it. And their attitude would go that way. And they'd get a little more cutthroat. And they'd be like, dude, relax. We're still like fleshing out this thing. Like, first of all, yes, you're still going to be cutting this thing. Like, it's okay, right? I'm not going to name a very specific project I'm thinking of. Okay. But it was always because somebody didn't know how to learn on their own. Okay. They had no idea how to learn on their own. They had no idea how to self-solve. They had no idea, right? There was a challenge that I used to run in the 2 Common Club group called the Self-Solver Challenge, right? It's the Self-Solver Challenge. And the challenge was, it's funny, I called it the Self-Solver Challenge. All they had to do was just do the things I was teaching them, right?
They just had to go teach them. They just had to do the things that I was teaching. And it was so ridiculous how many people wouldn't even do that. And I'm like, are you committed to this? Right? So it was like, was that the Born Supremacy? You guys remember the Bourne movies? Born Supremacy? Will you commit to this program? Right? That guy? Maybe a vague movie reference, I don't know. But I'm obsessed with those movies, okay? And right, and that's all I was asking for them, was just freaking commit to it. And if they went and did what they were supposed to do in the program anyway, I would go and do the special critique with them or something like that. And it's fascinating how many people. There's like two lies with this game, especially in the info product game. The first lie is that most of us start to confuse action with achievement, right? And sorry, my hand's shaky. I'm yelling too much, right? They start to confuse action with achievement. And so if you're learning things, that's great. But if you're not learning with the intent to solve a problem, that's a distraction, right? And it's the reason why I have so many books on my shelves that I've not read. I have no reason to learn what's in those books right now, right? People are like, but you're supposed to read a book a week. All right, maybe the equivalent of that I'm learning through like listening to tons of podcasts and a few of the things that I do. Like I'm still learning like an animal, but I'm learning with intent, right? This is how the game works, okay? I don't see beginning to end, and it's the reason why most people don't get started. They don't get started that way. What happens is they sit back and they go, Stephen, I see how this funnel game could work, right? And some of you guys have said that, and that's I get it, and that's how these are like the two lies, okay? This is the first lie. The lie is that someone says, I must see from beginning to end in order to get started in this game, okay? Right, and they would go, I only know this from taking 1,600 people through this process, okay? 1,600, okay? It's more than that now. I think we're nearing 1,700, okay? And doors are about to open for more. I'm really excited. Okay, but it's always a false belief. See, I teach people how to do to themselves the very things I'm teaching them how to do to their customers. I say, what are your false beliefs about this very process I'm about to take you through? And one of them is always, Stephen, I can't see, I understand, and engineers and designers are always the worst because they want to see beginning to end before they ever start a project, okay? They're always the worst. Every time I get and I'm going to go teach on stage, I always want to look to see who the engineers are. If I know who the engineer is, I'm like, crap, there's the logic person who needs to see every step before they'll do anything, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's a different skill set. Just be aware of it, okay? Okay. And I'll sit back and I'll say, okay, wait a second. This guy, this woman, they're wishing to see beginning to end, right? And they're wishing to see, because that's not how it works. We see the peak. I always see the peak. I know exactly where I want to drive the ship. You all do too. I want this kind of thing. I want this success. I want this kind of outcome. I want this kind of life, right? This kind of revenue, profit, whatever it is, right? We all know, right? You guys know what your peak is. The reason I found that most people don't get started, and the reason I found that most of those people who were taking time was because they could see the 2 or 3 steps in front of them, but there was this area that's totally dark, no lights on, completely black. And they're like, oh, okay, I see how to build the funnel, but I don't know how to get traffic on month 3. I'm like, what? Month 2 hasn't even happened, right? That's not how the game works. That's not how the game works. There's much faith in this as there is anything else. You sit down, you say, I'm going for that peak. You look down, you say, I see the 1 step in front of me, and number 2 and number 3. I don't even really see number 4. I don't even see number 4 in my own business, okay? I see the peak though, and I know the major milestones to get there, but in between, completely dark. It's totally black. I have no idea what's there. No idea. If you're nervous about solving problems in entrepreneurship, like, get used to it or learn to love it, because that's all it is, right? So all you have to focus on is just step number 1. Don't worry about step number 3 until you've taken step number 2, right? And so many people are trying to put every little asset, every little thing in place, all these little pieces. Well, I'm not going to be a good speaker. I'm not good at the funnel building. How's the offer go? How does this happen? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, just start moving. And you take step 1 and you don't worry about step 2 until it's completely there. You take it slow, right? You take it slow, and then your speed increases over time, but you put that foot out right there. You just put the foot out, and you place your foot as perfectly as your foot can be placed. Then you start to put a little weight on it. Lift up that back foot and get ready for step number 2, and you hold it above, and you place that step as perfectly as it can be placed.
And then the next one. You know what's funny is when you take the first step, a new third step always appears and begins to become visible. The issue happens when people get distracted by it. Okay? But how do I build an affiliate product? Man, you don't even have a product. Who cares? What's my affiliate program going to be? I haven't set up Backpack yet. You're not even selling your normal product on your own anyway. Who cares? Like, don't even worry about it till you get there, right? Don't even worry about it, right? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's like the first lie of the info product, actually entrepreneurship game in general. The first lie that people believe is oh my gosh, I've got to know all these steps. I got to know all these things. I'm not going to be successful unless I do. I don't see beginning to end. Okay, no one does. Nobody does. You guys know when we actually started the funnel for this book? 2 days before the launch. Okay, that's some scary crap. I would not encourage you to do that. Okay, that's some scary crap, and we had a very pro team pulling it off, okay? But what I'm saying is execution is what matters. Done is the new perfect. Stop needing to see beginning to end. Stop needing to be perfect. Most of the time I find that it's just a pride thing the person is experiencing. I'm going to look like an idiot if this fails. You mean when? When it fails. It will. Just get over it. When it fails, okay? But because so many people are so scared to take action, if you just take a little, you're already ahead of 80% of humanity. Okay? That's why I can stay ahead. That's why I'm doing it the way I am. I already know it's not going to be perfect, right? And that's the way I started treating my learning. I didn't need to learn every little piece of detail. I dove deep with it, right? I found step number one, like I was talking, step number one, how can I be curious about what I'm learning? How can I seek? How can I dive deeply? Then number two, how can I teach for two? How can I learn for two so that I can turn around and teach it to somebody else? Somehow document it. Somehow go around and turn around and be like, check it out. This is how it happens. Okay. Anyway, this is some real talk there. Oh, that was lie number one. Lie number two is that when I purchase something, the problem is solved. That's the other lie that people believe, right? It's kind of like, how many of you guys bought a treadmill and you've never used it? That's a perfect example. We've all done that. I'm not poking figures, okay? We've all done that. Every one of us, that's fine, okay? But you have to buy with intent, okay? Don't buy, like, I buy stuff to funnel hack it or to use it, right? There's times where stuff sits around. I'm totally guilty of that as well, right? But that's the second lie of this game that people believe. When I go purchase something, right, it scratches the itch, and therefore I will be successful, and begin to confuse action with achievement, okay? So just to recap, because I just said a buttload of stuff, and that was way longer, and I went into things I was not planning on. That was going to be like a 5-minute little thing. Number one, right? I showed you my college transcript. I literally failed out of college. I had to learn how to learn. I literally had to reapply. They kicked me out, like for real, okay? 4 years later, I went back in. I learned how to learn, got pretty much straight A's, graduated with a 3.8 the rest of college. And then what I started learning, right, the big difference between the straight A's and me failing out of college, which totally applied to me, everything funnel building wise, and which is I am completely convinced is why I am doing what I'm doing now, right? In college, what I learned how to learn, okay? I asked God for help. I learned how to learn. And what I did is I turned around and I figured out how to get curious over things that I needed to learn but didn't want to. How can I get curious about this? How can I seek? How can I ask for help? Who has the biggest cheese, right? Who can I go run after? Who's that person that'll take me in? To shortcut as much of the process as possible, right? Number two, I always learned with the intent to teach somebody else. I learn for two, learn for two, learn for two, learn for two. It's like this constant thing that's going on in my head. And when I learn for two, there have been awkward moments where I walk up to random people and say, look, I know you don't know who I am. This is going to be weird, but I want to teach you what I just learned so I remember it. Is that cool? And sometimes I'll just tell them anyway. That was weird a few times, but it worked, okay? And when I started funnel building, the exact same thing. Right, Russell, the fastest time that I ever built a funnel was in 11 minutes. I walked out of a 2 Comma Club coaching event. I was the only coach still, walked out. Russell goes, dude, oh my gosh, good, you're out. This thing's launching in 11 minutes. Can you put it out? And I was like, what? Oh my gosh, right? Whew. Right, say yes, build the parachute while you're falling. Funny enough, the ground doesn't even come. And then the two lies, right? Lie number one is that when I start anything, I believe that I need to see beginning and end in order for it to be successful. That is a lie. That is not true. Nobody ever does. Get used to it. Step two should never be even thought about until you put a step in step one. I'm not talking about thoughtful planning. I'm talking about just executing, getting crap done, okay? The other lie is that when we purchase something, we believe that, right, the problem is solved, like buying a treadmill and it just sits there, right? Or buying into a members area and we never do anything with it. Okay, the 80-20 principle sadly applies in everything that I've ever sold ever. 20% of people do stuff with it, right? The other 80 will, some of them come in and they do stuff and they get what they need from it, or they'll funnel hack me, which is fine too. But anyway, guys, hopefully it's been helpful. That was a lot. You guys commented like crazy. I haven't even read any of them. But that's my greatest asset. That's why I believe if something was to go to crap, I'm going to be fine. Because let's say the internet exploded. I'm probably going to go into real estate and I'm going to spend 2 weeks learning all the cool strategies and who has the biggest cheese, right? Who's the biggest cheese, sausage number one in the real estate game. And then I would go and I'd dive deep with them and do exactly what they said, right? I'd find a Mr. Miyagi, which is why I have this thing, okay? Little Mr. Miyagi bobblehead. I gave one to Russell. I was like, dude, you remember Mr. Miyagi? You tell me to do things I don't want to do a lot of times, but when I do them, money comes in. So that's why I do it, okay? Right? It's not about what you think. Sometimes we think too much. Sometimes we feel way too much. But Javier said, did you get kicked out for partying too much? No. I literally just stopped going to class and didn't know how to learn. And I'd go to class. I wouldn't know how to do anything afterwards. I literally had no idea how to learn. Anyway, hopefully it's helpful. It's kind of some real talk, I guess, if you want to call it that. And the YouTube education thing is huge. Absolutely, Billy. It's Tuesday. Rawr. That's right, John. Google that crap. Learn from my kids. Exactly. Actually, funny. I used to use this as an insult, and so don't take it. Please take it as a learning thing. If I ever do to you that do this in the group. But if you're like, Steven, how do I make funnels? Or how do I do this? How do I do this? Man, there's a site called letmegooglethatforyou.com where you can go in. It's the acronym for it though. Letmegooglethatforyou.com. Is that LMGFY? Let me Google that for you. TY or whatever. Anyway, what's funny about it is you can go in and you can grab, like I could type in, how do I build a funnel? And it creates a little video GIF. And it pops out a link, and you can send the link. In fact, I'll do it after this, okay? I'm gonna go drop it in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And anytime anyone used to ask me a question that was frankly stupid, or I could tell that they had done no thought to think about the answer on their own, right? This is what I would do. So as soon as the video's over, I'm gonna drop one for you so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And it's not me saying, hey, I won't coach, hey, I won't help. It's not me saying that at all. What I'm saying is, let's solve the greater issue. If the person doesn't know how to learn, if they're not a self-solver, if they literally have no responsibility for their own education and they're putting on everybody else, it doesn't matter if I even answer it because they're gonna come back with the next question, right? This game's a series of questions. So I'll answer that one and then they'll be like, cool, I built a funnel. How do I change button color? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? So I want to solve the greater issue. I want you to be self-solvers, right? Anyway, 100% responsible, 100% real talk. Stop yelling, you're scaring me. Good. It must be the Tony Robbins hat that's getting me all kind of hopped up on goofballs. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Good watching as always. Great to see another veteran smashing it. Hey, thanks, Nathan. Leslie Ha just did it. Fun stuff. Awesome, cool guys. Hey, I'm gonna drop one for you so you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's helpful. Please, please, please keep sharing the group. It means a lot. What I'm trying to do is I know there's a lot of voices out there, and having built a lot of funnels, I think besides Russell, I think it's okay for me to say no one else has built as many funnels in the world as I have. You know, I mean, really, you know, people clone them or stuff like that. But so I don't know. It feels weird to say that. I'm not trying to showboat, but it is a reality. And so I'm trying to be a voice of clarity, kind of in the funnel world, and how to sell crap on the internet where you're not having to compete on price. I hate that. I don't compete on price. I sell for full value. In fact, I mostly sell for premium values, and I'm trying to teach people how to do the same. So if you guys like the group, it's my goal to go live in here daily, and it means a lot to keep sharing it. We screamed over 1,000 people so fast. I can't even believe that, and means a lot. So anyways, thanks so much for your involvement. Appreciate you guys all being in this, and means a lot. Hey guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Oh yeah. Hey, wish you could geek out with other real funnel builders and even ask questions while I build funnels live? Oh, wish granted. Watch and learn funnel building as I document my process in my funnel strategy group. It's free. Just go to thescienceofselling.online and join now.